Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the latest edition of Taking America Camping. We're finally back at it. Again, Taking America Camping, the podcast brought to you by TNS RV and Sport down in Navasota and Bryan, Texas. My name is Tim Meadows. Finally back in the pilot seat here. I've got Tex and Matt with us today from the mothership up in Bryan, and we are here to talk all things Tiffin Motorhomes. We've like I said, it's been a little bit since we got together and did this. We've had some time where we've been out of the office, one or two of us at a time, but getting the gang back together and we'll talk some motorhomes, boys. Got some big stuff going on.
Yeah, exactly. So here we go.
Yeah. So as a company, we dove into the motorized space heavily inside the last year, and we brought on some Class A gas stuff from Forest River. We've had some Class C gas stuff that we've dealt with, and then we moved into a relationship with Tiffin Motorhomes and have gotten heavily into everything diesel over the course of the last, what's it been, 6-8 months?
Mm-hmm.
Feels like 6 weeks or 6 years. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But we've had the Class B GH1 in their adventure van space, and then the Allegro based Super Cs, and it's all been building toward kind of this crescendo that's getting ready to roll out here as the summer months come on, with the introduction of 5 lines, or truly 4 lines, in their Class A diesel space, and then something that is a standalone, special edition project from them. But we've got the Byway, the Allegro Red, the Phaeton, and the Allegro bus lines all in the queue. Like, we've got confirmations. We know how they're being built. We know when they're coming, and they span everywhere from the first unit should be here in August-ish, all the way out till projected delivery dates of April of 2026. So between the diesel A's and the Super C's, I think that the unit count is 38, 40 total. Just in our first group that we've got allocated. So we've got some really exciting stuff that we had to do, frankly, to get prepared for this. So first, let's just talk about products. Some text, exciting to finally have something in that Class 8 diesel space, and then obviously with a partner like Tiffin Motorhomes, we can't go wrong.
No, absolutely. And that's these as we're speccing these units out for different people. It's been great to get to know the clientele that's searching for Tiffin, and we've gotten on the A side, and more often than not, the Tiffin Class A buyer is also trading a Tiffin Class A. So you've got this following that is very, very good to see.
Sure.
A lot of people, of course, as you can understand with the Tiffin name, they're sticking with the brand. So they go from a 2 to 3 year trade cycle and move up to their next Tiffin, and or in some cases go from an A down to a C, or maybe a Wayfair or something like that. So but still sticking with the brand. So it's very interesting to speak with these people.
I would say that the Tiffin brand has had more brand loyalty or stickiness. They use the word sticky. There's been more of that retention inside of their own house of their previous owners than any other brand or manufacturer that I've had the opportunity to deal with in the industry. So it is interesting, like you said, with so many of these interactions, the preliminary talks that we've started with folks over buses, or even in the van space. There's a whole lot of these folks that are repeat Tiffin buyers, and even inside of that group, an overwhelming number of folks that this is not just their second.
Sure.
Third, fourth, fifth, and onward and upward from there in some cases. Sure. So it really has. It's been really interesting. The closest thing that I would say to like a new customer base would have been to when we first got those first, like luxury fifth wheels
Hmm.
that we went back in 2017, 2018, and with the Heartland Landmarks, where we just had folks that had been inside that house and been working their way up toward the
Hmm.
top of the mountain. Um, but the Tiffin, that customer base, it's even thicker.
Oh, absolutely. And as soon as we were able to let it be known publicly that we had this relationship working, partnership working with Tiffin, man, I mean, the last, let's just call it 2 weeks, basically, is when we were able to let the cat out of the bag on the Class A side. Um, it has literally occupied all of my time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Probably yours too, Tim, during the day is working with the inquiries that we've had. And then obviously this is a traveling business. So the people that are shopping are really from all over the country. Um, and we've got our flying by program that we work into each deal. And we just had, it was I'm sorry, a GH1 the other day that he flew in from, I think, Boston area. And then we picked him up at the airport, brought him in. He spent a couple days here getting familiar with the unit, that type thing. And then took off and went camping,
Yep.
so that's something that we're going to start from the very beginning doing this and offering this. But included in the deal were the tickets, the flight
Yep.
tickets, the picking up at the airport, coming to the store, meeting everybody, walking through the process with Matt and the PDI team, getting familiar with all of this because these are obviously big, complicated units. We'd like to also, people understand that when you get here, you're not in a hurry.
No.
So
Can't
if you'd
be.
like to, you'll do your walkthrough initially, spend the night. You're going to have more questions the next day. Spend another night if you'd like. And then before you hit the road, we want you to feel like you have really been introduced to this unit, as people become part of the Tiffin and TNS family, um, hopefully we can have everybody leave with that feeling. We'll do our best,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There's a bit of a transfer. This is not a completely alien idea or concept. I can tell you, I had some customers here at the Navso store last week. They arrived on Sunday and didn't leave until Saturday. They were
hmm
transferring, full time fifth wheel buyers.
hmm
But the process of transferring all of their stuff from one unit to the next, and then us working through the unit with them, and there was a couple of things that, quite frankly, that were corrected in the PDI process that without the move in process, it would have been impossible for us to know. you
hmm
know some
Absolutely.
some things that we ended up doing that were pretty unique, things that we had not had to do before, but that just without moving stuff into particular drawers or sections of the pantry would have never known that we needed to go in and kind of rework some stuff. But again, with this type of purchase in the Class A space, when you're dealing with Phaetons and Allegro buses, we expect that to be a process that is not, it's not your typical, 1.5 to 2 hour demo and walk and,
Sure.
sign papers, hook it up and go. These are much more in depth and much more complicated machines. And I think that the prep process, we were talking off air. We're thinking, it's going to take 2 to 3 days to PDI them, and I think that we might be being a little optimistic there. Just
Yeah.
not that I expect to have a lot of stuff to do, but there's so much to check and so much to verify.
Yeah.
And if we get that stuff under pressure and let it sit and just to be sure, we don't really want, don't want people to be fighting with you got a $700,000 bus. You don't want to have them fighting with it on
hmm
night two, halfway
Sure.
across the country. We want to work through as much of that as we can. And, it's interesting. There's discomfort when you have those things, right? Like it's uncomfortable to be in a delivery and you have something that, some gremlin pops up on you. And, but I've always said, it's like, I would so much rather be uncomfortable here because I can do something about it
Sure.
here than be trying to chase somebody down in Minnesota, a
Mm-hmm.
week from now, and have something that if it was going to happen, I'd so much rather it happen here, and then just we deal with being uncomfortable because we get it right.
Yeah.
Um, so let's talk a little bit in depth at product. Like I said, we've got 4 different lines in the Class A diesel space, with the Byway, um, the Allegro Red, the Phaetons, and then the Allegro buses. And then I mentioned kind of the special project, and I only mention it as a special project because if you're on Tiffin's home site, the Bob Tiffin Special Edition is actually listed as a standalone product, right? The 45 BTP. It's technically part of the Allegro bus line. But if you
Mm-hmm.
go looking for that floor plan under Allegro bus on their site, you're not going to find it. It's just going to be the Bob Tiffin Special. Um, and man, you talk about like drinking from a fire hose in terms of information and what can be done with certain units and what can't be done in certain units. Um, it's part of I think the uniqueness of this space,
Oh yeah, sure.
because we get into completely different drivetrains. We gotta you get to the 40 the over 40 feet. All right, so more than 40. So if the first number is a 41 through say a 45, you've got the option. Those are tag axle units, right? Like those are not option, but you get into the tags there, and then there's a couple of these models inside of the tags that have the different the 605 horse engine and the bigger Allison transmission, like, and it's a game changer because we were
Mm-hmm.
going over this. You and I were going over this the other day, and I was kind of trying to feed you all the stuff that I had figured out and learned and had taken in, and then you're like, well, the 605 horse, it doubles your towing capacity,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
and I
Yeah, and it comes
realized,
with the 4,000 transmission.
yeah, of all the things that
Yeah.
I had figured out and come across and learned, that one was just right over my head. But
Sure. So your people who are pulling the race car trailers and that type of stuff, that's some of
yeah,
the stackers that get heavy. That 605, heck, it lets you accommodate all of that.
yeah,
So
and the customers that want that added road security with that steerable tag axle, we identifying what plans are available in that, and the uniqueness of our scenario, none of it's on the ground yet,
right.
so everything is up for, like, hey, how do you want to build it? Like,
Sure.
let's build your Tiffin, right? Let's get the exact colors and the exact furniture layout and the exact paint scheme and all these things. I mean, heck, even wheel colors. So
Mm-hmm.
um, working through that process, it's been fun. It's been such a new and different, like a change of pace
Mm-hmm.
from the normal activities. It's been good. It's kind of it puts my brain in a different space and
Mm-hmm.
re-engages parts of processes that we haven't seen in some time. And then obviously never seen it on this scale. So,
Sure. Well,
um,
and I think too, the time always flies when we're doing these programs. But before we get too far into our clock here, I'd like to also turn over to Matt, because the process that we have from a PDI standpoint and all of the things that goes on before the customer is here to pick up their unit. There's a ton of activity
oh yeah,
before that, not only with us, but at Tiffin. And then we receive the unit and we basically do it all again,
right,
And so in that space, in where we're always able to call on Matt to make sure that we're prepared and ready. Because typically, I'll go out, walk the unit, run through the mechanics of it. Everything's good to go, but it's gotten to that point before I'm there
right.
in a lot of cases. So that's when I go to Matt and say, "Hey, man, is this rig ready? Is it ready to roll?" So if we could, I think it's an interesting perspective to
For
know that
sure.
what goes on before the customer sees their unit. You know.
And Matt, also in the mix of that, if you would, like, we're talking about all the prep that's working internally just to get to the point where we start to get the units on the ground.
Mhm.
Talk some about that type of resource allocation and the things that we're doing internally to get prepared.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of moving parts here, and like you mentioned, 2 to 3 days to get one of these things ready. Possibly. I think that's on the good side. 2 to 3 days for one of these, um, but each location has its own PDI team. We did a really nice podcast about our PDI a couple weeks ago.
Hmm.
You guys can refer to that one, kind of get a little bit of insight on all the things that we touch there. But just to rehash some parts of that is touching every button, every switch, every knob, operating every slide out, checking tire pressure, checking oil, checking everything before our customer gets in here, and then a thorough clean on it. Now that sums it up in about 10 seconds, but I'm talking several people going through this unit, and then a service manager follow up to make sure it was done right. And then myself as a director follow up. And then we have owners that are walking these units
Yeah.
before the customer even steps on the property to see it. It's
Right.
just a massive on taking.
Yeah. It's one of the largest scale trust but verify operations that I've ever been a part of.
Mhm.
And by one of, I mean by far the biggest. Um, because
Well, you see these reality shows where they're oh, I watch the car shows, but they're getting it ready and the customer's on their way and it's this isn't done and that isn't done and they're having to get this last minute thing, wrapped up. We try not to get down to the wire on the clock like that, but there is. I wish there was we should sometimes set a video camera in the unit when we plug it in for PDI and just let that run for 2 or 3 days. And then we can come back and fast forward and just see the amount of traffic and people that are in that unit. Any of them this complicated, right? Yeah. So, because it would look like a little, buzzing
somebody stepped
around.
on an anthill.
Oh my Lord, and 3 or 4 people at one time, in and out and on top and under and shuffling pillows, if nothing else, straightening up bed covers and it's that would actually be a pretty interesting scenario if we did something like that. But
it would be, and having a technician that knows that he's responsible for handing that over because he's going to sign a piece of paper that says I've done all of these things.
Mhm.
I'm responsible for it, and then having a service manager that's going to go through and check it. And like myself and service managers, we all have a flashlight in our pocket, every single one of us, and we're going to go open up every door, shine it through the whole unit, every compartment, and myself, the white glove test. I mean,
Mhm.
basically, check it for cleanliness, lay a flashlight on top of it, make sure there's no dust, just make it as presentable as we can. What's also fun about the PDI process, these customers being repeat buying customers like to teach us about the product too.
Oh yeah.
And I find that as a fun part of it,
Mm-hmm.
doing the walkthrough and, a lot of times they know everything we know
Oh
already.
yeah. Well,
To make
and I think that the level of specific experience is relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So because you've got guys that like we deal with a lot of different units, be it motorhomes, travel trailers, fifth wheels, whatever.
Mhm.
But it's that guy who's been inside of his. He's
Sure.
owned Tiffins for 25 years, and
Yeah.
that dude's taken how many trips in these, really pretty narrow lane of certain units that are configured certain ways and have certain systems. And this would be the updated, most recent version of that. And plus, like, I mean, think about it. I mean, how much research would you do? And the trick answer is a whole lot on
Mhm.
a a 6 figure. No, any number that's 6 figures. It's got a comma,
Mm-hmm.
in it. Like it's a big purchase. So people are gonna research this even more than they do, like our high end fifth wheel stuff, which we have folks that are like, man, I've been studying this thing for
Sure.
3.5 years and I've read every forum and every, like, this is that elevated. Um,
Well, and for instance, we just got back from Colorado, took a GH1 out to look at some different things out there and kind of tour a bunch of different areas. And so we weren't just on the interstate the whole time, which obviously the GH1's perfect for that. But you know, taking it out there, using it, we were basically in it for 5 days.
right.
Except for obviously just stops and that type of thing, but using it, the function, the A's, the B's, the C's, they're all the same way. I mean, we were I was talking with someone the other day that was picking up that was actually a GH1 as well, and I was telling him, going down the interstate, I'll lock in behind a semi with adaptive cruise. I'll set my cruise about 3 miles an hour faster than he's running in the truck, but I can watch my fuel miles per gallon go up while I'm drafting behind that semi. And I'll just stay there. I mean, heck, we'll stay on the interstate and roll for hours. And I was sitting there, we're fighting a pretty significant headwind. So I was at about 13 miles to the gallon, 13 and a half. And I locked in behind that truck and stayed there for a while. And I'm watching tick, 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 15, 15, 2, 15, 5. But those are the things that you learn by using it,
right?
And so we want to be active users as well. Sure. But like you said, mixing in with people that are functioning in these rigs on a regular basis. A lot of people are full timers, and if they're not full timers, they're using often. So it's fun. It really is. It's a good time to mix in with these units, and then fall in line with the people that are out there functioning in these.
Right. Well, so we mentioned, briefly about the idea that we have the opportunity in a lot of the cases, right this second at least, just about everything that's still inbound, with very few exceptions, has the opportunity to be completely customized.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure.
And so then we also know that if we come across a customer that wants a particular floor plan, and we're not going to have the opportunity to customize our unit that's already allocated to us, no worries. We'll get you one. We'll get you the one that you want. Like, we'll sit down, go through the whole process. We've been working on the development of in-house design centers. And that project's still a little bit in its infancy. We've got a lot of the material in terms of product boards that show us the different swatches for all the available interiors. We're working on an expansion of that project, but the order process, we can go through it from the very first step all the way through every possible option and configuration, and get it dialed in exactly the way that the customer is going to want it. It's like I said, it's interesting. It's a completely different process that has been fun to kind of dig back into, especially knowing that we've been waiting for this project to kind of come to life. It's really exciting, really gratifying to finally be able to get out and talk about it,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is a
so,
whole new chapter for us, and it's a long-term part of what we do on a everyday basis now. So.
Right. So we've actually taken the full gamut of our allotment, that we have set out as stock units for us to sell, and all those units have been put in on tsrvs.com. We've put them online.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be doing some updates to that periodically. We're already, you and I, Tex, have been talking offline about some tweaks that we're looking at making on certain of those units.
Sure.
And as we get more and more of those locked in, then we'll start not only posting the unit, but the full build sheet showing exactly the way that unit is set to be built. And I'm glad we didn't get too far with that right away, because we got that full list and everything, and got all the units, and then we got the updated pricing for the 2026 model year, and not realizing that there was going to be an update to that in that 1 month or so lag period. So
Sure.
Gretchen and I've been plugging away on that, getting all those fully revised, so that all those all those build sheets and those window stickers are accurate with the most recent MSRP pricing from Tiffin.
Sure.
But all that is available on the site. Any of the product lines, you can just search by product line. You can search by floor plan. We've tried to cast a wide net with getting the best plans in each of these lines set, and some of them are set for Brian, some are set to come to the Navasota store. But it's all in one site, so it's all going to be very conveniently located. And we've had, like you mentioned, we took those live. What was it? 2 weeks ago, I think. It was
Mhm.
right when I got back to town.
Right.
And there's already been, I don't know if I'd call it a flood, but a steady trickle of inquiries coming in on specific units that people had found online
Yeah.
on the site. Um, because everything that we do on our site obviously feeds over to some other resources, RV Trader, RV Universe, and some other things like that.
Sure.
So more and more information is coming very soon, and as things update, we'll continuously be posting them, and we'll start pushing a little bit more of this stuff out now through our social media channels. Um, we Tex, I didn't even have a chance to tell you, we got Molly back in. She is coming in.
Oh. Oh.
She's
Okay.
actually here today, first day one. So we've got some eyes on and some activity that's going to be ramping up through the social media side of things.
Okay. Good.
So because there's proven to be just so many hours in the day in terms of the creation of content and stuff that
Sure.
I told her, I said, bring me a good idea and tell me what to do, and I'll do it. But I can't. I'm not sure I have the ability to formulate and craft it all.
Mm-hmm.
But so a lot more stuff coming. And if you
Mm-hmm.
have any
Sure.
questions, and actually, so we talked about this too, boys. Like, this is the perfect opportunity. We want to know from a potential like Tiffin Class A buyer, and it doesn't have to be a Class A. I mean, Super C, adventure vans. We want to know from you what ideas that you might have, and things that we might need to think about, and things
Mm-hmm.
that we could fold into our process, like the whole flying by program. We've done that several times at this point. But if you've got ideas on things that you would think would add value to a customer experience, whether it's in the process of ordering or the process of picking it up, let us know. Give us something to think about. Give us something good to talk about, because the one thing that we are not is believers that we've got a monopoly on all good ideas. But if
Well,
we hear a
sure.
good idea, we're darn sure going to try to figure out how to put it into play.
Well, and something else worth mentioning is the OWL program. The Tiffin guys have all they've gotten into this adventure side to the point that I mean the OWL side of what we're doing, our relationship obviously with Tiffin and then OWL has just blown up. I mean, we've got there was the OTX that was at the dealer meeting that we bought while we were there, and then there was now the next one because of that one.
Yep.
Then we have another client that she's buying the second OTX that comes in. So heck, we're not going to have a stock open trail for who knows how long, because everything at this point is going to OWL to get the Tiffin upgrade, and it's coming in and going back out as an OTX.
Yeah,
so
that whole
fun.
program I think that one's caught everybody.
Oh yeah,
a little bit flat-footed.
Sure.
I was talking to Trey and Trey Edwards over at Tiffin. He's like, yeah, we have never seen the demand on a new release product in the way that we have with this open trail, and then in particular the OTX, because it was just what got put out. That limited release, complete build out of the open trail by OWL Vans, it's unbelievable.
Now guys are top notch too. They're
the best
guys,
of the best,
basically
man.
gearheads, and they love taking these things and taking them to the next level.
Oh, sure.
So the rig that we took to Colorado that I mentioned was a stage 3 OWL.
Yep. So we've got two of those here at the stores now. And obviously we can take anything in that van space, right? We can take anything and we can put anything, we can take it to OWL pre-purchase, right? So the customer doesn't have to pick up a unit, have a separate transaction, and then take it to OWL and leave it to be outfitted. We can get all of that worked out, the ordering, the whole thing, all that equipment can be put into the financing. So we've got the opportunity to help a customer in a one-stop shop deliver or take delivery of a completely outfitted OWL van to exactly their specs. Even so far as we are at the exact perfect distance from the Austin OWL shop,
Sure.
that if they do suspension upgrades, that required 100-mile retorque process can be done at Navasota or Bryan, because we're literally like 102 and 106 miles door to door from our shops to theirs. And we have all the specs. We've already done it on the two units that we upgraded. So as soon as those units hit the ground back at our stores, we go through, do all the retorque process to ensure all that van compass compliance is up to date. But again, being able to put all of that into one stop shop is something that I'm really excited about. And
Sure.
they just look killer.
No, yeah,
You
absolutely.
you wouldn't have thought that a GH1 would be able to kind of be made look a little bit puny until you put that owl van package on there. The bumpers and the cargo boxes and the spare tire and the upgraded wheels and tires and that Falcon, rally shock suspension. 40-gallon gas tanks. Like, dude, they're really awesome.
Oh yeah. I mean, and we're going down the road in this one, and there's people pulling up beside us, taking pictures, and they take the picture and then they turn it around and show it to us from the car next door, and thumbs up stuff, or you pull into the parking lot to get fuel, that kind of thing, and you come back out and there's people gathered around it. We pulled up to the Cadillac Ranch on the way out there and went and took pictures and all that stuff, and then looked back at the van, and I parked it, kind of by itself so nobody would get beside it and door dang it or whatever. And but
so they all got beside it and took pictures.
10 or 12 people just wrapped around it, and so it's amazing that you can take a van and make it that cool, So pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah. So we've got these programs set up. We've got preset packages that we can do. Say on a typical Sprinter like a GH1, we've got various packages that can be done, that can be selected from, but it can also be done as a complete a la carte menu. I mean, it's like going to get frozen yogurt. You want this topping and that topping, this. We can do every step along the way, all the way up to the level of those special project vans. So I think that we're going to see some stuff with the open trail where we have some people that want to get really, really close to the OTX. And maybe they couldn't get on to that limited list. So we're going to have the ability to take that from the stock unit and go out as far, or heck, if Owl sells it, if they sell and install the product, there's no stopping where you have to stop. So, but again, we can walk through that process from the beginning to the end, so that a customer doesn't have to have taken delivery of a unit and then make the accommodations to get it into a shop or the shop. Like I said, we're essentially, as far as Owl goes, we might as well be next door. They've got six stores nationwide, but Austin is by kind of leaps and bounds the furthest toward the east. I guess with the exception of maybe Denver, which geography lesson I'm failing. I think Denver's still further west. So like we can help with that, and we have all that infrastructure in place. Our relationship with Owl is incredible. Those guys are unbelievably awesome to work with, and they've tolerated me, which automatically makes them great people. Probably sainthood level to deal with the amount of questions, because I want to get everything lined out. So I don't want to be running around like I don't know what I'm doing when we've got customers on the line. So, so what are we missing, man? We've covered a lot, and of course we're 15 minutes longer than we said we were going to be.
Isn't that crazy? It's amazing how the time just blasts by.
I mean,
Matt just won't be quiet.
Yeah, just to add to the Owl situation too. Some other upgrades that we can do are the Battleborn batteries.
Mm-hmm.
We do those in
Starlink.
Starlink is another one. So.
Sure.
And we're doing all that in-house at this point, right? I mean, we're a full-on Starlink dealer and Battleborn lithium batteries dealers. So, and have gone through the bumps and bruises, right? Like to know now that if you take a unit that doesn't have that triple battery setup, how to check all the configuration from the second alternator through the can't remember what it's called now, but it's the controller. We had to order special USB cords to link, phones or tablets to reconfigure that machine to make sure that it was using those batteries and charging those
Sure.
batteries properly. And, you know, and getting fully up to date and educated on the quirks of the Mercedes drivetrain, you know, because it's different. And just learning what we have to do to make sure that unit is in proper working order. If it's been in our stock, you know, because we have ours on this slot. We have it on a like a rotation, right? So like once a week, that thing's got to get out and get driven for 20, 30 minutes. And because they don't want to idle. We don't want to fill the particle filters up, but we've got to start them. You know, we've got to get those batteries refreshed. We know that you can't keep the key fobs near them because it wakes different parts of the system up just being in proximity. It starts draining on batteries. So, man, it's just like I said earlier, it's drinking from a fire hose, but it's invigorating, you know, to get in and have new challenges. Just when we think we kind of got good at certain things, let's go find something that we haven't done a whole lot of and figure out how to get really good, really fast at it. So, and you know what, that brings up something to me that I'd be really aggravated with myself if I didn't do, but shout out to all of our team members that have been doing this alongside us. It's not just the three of us, right? Like we're just, you know, in a lot of cases, we're the talking head to this, but, you know, grabbing these guys and picking their brains about the things that they're finding, because they're pointing stuff out to us that we then take back to the OEMs. And that's always been a kind of one of our trademarks that I've always been the proudest of our team with is, you know, there's a certain point where we're schooling the OEMs on things that they don't even realize, you know, what they've got built into this or quirks or things that need to be addressed at that level.
Yeah, for sure.
So what am I missing? Anything? Is there something that we should be talking about that we're not?
No. I think we're getting stretched on time here. So I think that we've covered a lot. We can come back on and kind of expand on what we're doing here.
Yeah. Well, expansion is the topic of the week for next time. So a little Easter egg for you guys there. So we mentioned it earlier, like if you've got ideas for us and you've got suggestions, the banner at the bottom's got the email address. It's podcast@tsrvs.com. Shoot that over. We'd love for something to chew on and to kick around. And we'll cover some of those in future episodes. You know, while we've got you, I want to thank you for listening. And be sure to jump on and find us and follow us on all those social media platforms. I'm reading it now: Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, and on and on. So we just really appreciate everybody and appreciate the support and really just look forward to all these new challenges. So that's all I got, boys.
All right. Want to wrap us up?
All right, I will. Dear Heavenly Father, we do thank you. We thank you so much for all the things that you've led us to. You've brought us so far, and we know that you've got more for us, and we're grateful for that. And we approach those things with open hearts and open minds, and with a real sense of adventure, and look forward to learning and to sharing and to helping getting the opportunity to be a part of people making their dreams come true. Lord, we ask that you would watch over and bless and maintain the people that make up this great team that we have in all our locations, from everything from our cleaning folks to the techs, to the managers, to the sales team, to everybody. We just ask that you would continue to lead us so that we would be led to do things in that are pleasing in your eye. Lord, we ask all this of you and through Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen. All right, boys. Let's get to work.
Let's do.
All right, we'll see you later.
That'll work. Hey, what day is Jose going to be there?
Oh, hold on.
Oh, you're not done yet?
No. I was.
Come on now. I guess you're still not done, right?
Yeah, it's done. Well, I thought it was.
It's still rolling. He's got to learn how to edit it anyway.
Right.
It's all practice.
Y'all got to
edit it anyway.